Welcome to the candidate tutorial for the methods course for single subject candidates for your content area. So you are assigned right now to one of the following courses between 6022 and 6029. My name is Professor Lori Call at Point Loma Nazarene University. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of how we are running the methods course in Canvas and online during the pandemic. It's obviously very different than when we did it in person. You would be in person with your mentor regularly and observing in their classroom and connecting with them that way. Right now, because we're remote learning, everything's going to be built in to Canvas for you, but you are still working with your mentor, but virtually, just like you are if you are teaching as an intern or taking any other courses at Point Loma. So the first thing you're going to need to do is be sure you can get into your Canvas account. And it's going to be called EDU 6022 to 6029. Now the reason it has these numbers, and it will probably come up for you as just 6022, is that each of them is a different content area. Okay, so for example, 6022 is ELA, 6023 is math, and so on. So you are going to be in 6022, however, the course that you are signed up for to take is related to your content area, okay? But it is called Methods of Teaching Secondary Education, specific to your content area, whatever that might be. So on the landing page here up at the top, you're going to see announcements as always, and a to-do list over here of things that you're going to need to do. Now this is for the Fall Quad 2 course. You can already see here there are assignments that will be due coming up. Each week they will be the same. So let me first though go into each of these buttons off to the left. The syllabus here for your competency, your content is listed at the top here. This is where you will find your syllabus. So if you are the English language arts, you're going to click here on ELA competency syllabus, and it's going to download to your desktop, and you're going to open it and save it and be able to access it and know what's coming for your course. Okay, and so there's a different one for each of them, for each course, for each content area. I am the instructor of record in Bakersfield. Kimberly Athens is the instructor of record in Mission Valley. And then we have a whole team of amazing mentors that are specialized in their area for content. So you're going to have, we have a mentor for English language arts, we have a mentor for music, a mentor for visual arts, and so on, all the different content areas. So you will be assigned to that mentor. So here you're going to see the basics of the course, along with the course summary of all the assignments, and I'm going to show you how that's kind of laid out in Canvas so you have an idea. So the next tab I'm going to go to is announcements, and this is where you're going to regularly find announcements. I would pay attention here. I know myself as the instructor of record, I update and give announcements here regularly. The announcements for your mentor are going to be in the People tab, and I'm going to show you that in a few moments. But I will, as the instructor, give announcements on this main page. Okay, so let's take a look at modules, and I want you to think of this course as having two parts. Okay, you've got the main classroom portion, which is here where every single content area student candidate is going to be. You all are going to be going through this, walking through these modules at the same time. Okay, so you have this going on at the same time that you have competencies that you are completing with your mentor, and that is separate. So you're going to have two places you're going to visit. You're going to visit here for the general class information that everyone combined is going through their content area, and then you're going to have the section where you visit to meet with your mentor. So you're thinking of it this way: I need to go visit my mentor down at the library or wherever I'm meeting. We're pretending that you're meeting somewhere to connect and gather that content expertise that you need to in this course. Well, you don't do it in this main classroom. You do it under the People's tab here. And this is where you each have your own page. Right now, all students are not loaded here, but if you go to the mentor groups, If you notice, there's a group for every subject, and this is where you and your mentor are going to meet. You can meet by Zoom here, you can meet by conferences. All of these resources on the left are also available on your page, your home page. So for example, if I visit the group homepage for Language Arts, you're only going to be able to visit your group. Your mentor is going to put all kinds of things here for you. So if they have announcements, this is where you'll come from your mentor for announcements. If they have pages they've added, this is where it'll be. Here is the methods log. You have to keep track of your hours. This is where it will live. It's already here in the pages. I've loaded it for you. These are who are also in your group. There are none loaded at this time, but this is where you'd see who else is doing the single subject in ELA. Anytime you have discussions that are started by the methods, your methods instructor, any files, conferences, and collaborations. So this is where it's all going to sit. So this is where your small group mentor support specific in your content area is going to live. Okay, so if I go back, you have all these buttons on the side and then these other groups. You are only going to be able to go into your group. Now if I go back, so think of it as living in two places. You've got the main classroom, which is all of this here, and then you've got the people tab, which is where you're going to meet with your mentor. Okay, so when you're in the main classroom, everyone is required to do these assignments, but it's going to be targeted to your specific content area, whatever it might be. So for example, week 1, our focus is individual education plan in your content area. So we're focusing on IEPs and how that relates to specifically your content area. So this is the first week. It's going to look the same, each module. If you notice, they look the same. You're going to always have an overview. You're going to always have a discussion. You're always going to have an assignment, and you're always going to have a competency method activity. It's going to be the same every week. Discussion due on Tuesday, final discussion due on Sunday, assignments and competency method activities due on Sunday. Same due dates, okay? Always, if you have questions for me or for Kimberly Athens in Mission Valley, please put your questions in here too. That's where we will find information. Now, when you're looking at each week, the most important thing for you to start with is to start with the overview. This is going to tell you what you're learning for the week. So you're learning about IEPs. It's going to give you the basic overview of what you're going to be doing this week, your student learning outcomes, and then here, this information is so important. You can just scan through this and think, big deal. This is your background content, okay? This is what you need to know in order to be able to complete your assignments this week for the class and with your mentor, okay? So we've got what is special education and what is an IEP. We've got a video here. We've got accommodations and modifications. Here's a video on example collaboration to implement an IEP, another example video, and then resources to view. This is a case studies document you're going to need, and a UDL lesson plan template you're going to need. And then every week, this is very critical, you're going to have this list of which competencies that you need to complete for the week. Okay, so let me kind of give you an overview of that. I'll go ahead and do that right now. If we click on this, you want to think of it this way. In CP, you are also going to be completing a competency table. Let's take, for example, math. Let me scroll down to math. If you are getting your credential in math, there are certain competencies as a math teacher that you need to be able to show that you know. So here is, if you click on this, this is the competencies chart, and I'm going to pull this up here for a moment, pull this into view. So here are the competencies that you are required to know by the end of the quad for math. So it would be effective teaching strategies, computation concepts and symbols, connections, problem solving, and so on. Okay? If you notice over here, there's a place to type in the activities you've completed. This is the whole purpose of this course, is that you complete these competencies, this whole table here. And you're doing this each week, broken down into parts, with your mentor in your group in that people tab I mentioned earlier. So I've broken it down to do a few a week to match the topic of the week. So week 1 is IEP. So for example, for art, Your competencies are environment, problem-solving skills, equipment, and materials. For language arts, it's differentiating and providing instruction. For health, it's coordinated school health program, individual and cultural differentiation, and so on. So each week, your competencies are going to be specified in this table, okay, within the overview. So you're not doing all the competencies all at once, obviously, of the 8 weeks. I'm breaking it down for you, a few a week. So this is the chart here that tells you which ones you were responsible for this particular week. All right, and then this gives you an overview of your assignments. This week you're going to have a discussion where you introduce yourself. You only usually have one, but the first week you introduce yourself, and then you have a discussion about IEP that's going to ask you a question. Then you have a week 1 assignment, IEP assignment, and your week 1 competency method activity where you're completing those portions, those 2 or 3 competencies with your mentor. So you want to think of it like this. This class is pretty much all online, except you're going to be meeting with your mentor by Zoom or Google Hangout, talking back and forth, texting, emails, whatever it is, visiting the people page, which is where their page is going to be. So this main page here, again, is the main classroom in which I coordinate and make sure everything's running smoothly. On the people page, that is where you meet with your mentor and you have your individual content specific website, okay, page. All right, so that's how each module is laid out. So I'm going to look over this again. So the first week is IEP. That's the focus. The second week is English language learners in your content area with, once again, the overview that you're observing and reading first. Then you've got a discussion, then you've got an assignment, and your competency method activity. So it follows that same pattern each week, okay? Sometimes there's 2 assignments. Not very often. I think there's only 2 weeks where there's 2 assignments. And then week 4, you do have a mid-course survey that is required just for online learning for the university to assess how things are going. Week 4, excuse me, I skipped that. Week 3 is technology in your content area. Week 4 is Common Core or standards in your content area. Week 5 is researching in your content area. And week 6 is the methods competencies in your content area, where you are wrapping up and finishing your entire competencies chart, okay? And that final chart completed is due in week 8. Okay, in week 7, then you are reflecting on what you've done in your growth and what you've learned, and you're going to join a professional organization within your area. Your mentor will be the person that's going to give you great ideas of who to pick and where to go and what the cheapest one is. I'm sure is what you're thinking. Also, there's some free ones and there's some ones that will cost money. So it will just kind of be up to you and your situation as to what you want to do. And then wrapping it up in the 8th week, this is just, there's not going to have the typical content of the other weeks. You are just literally working with your mentor to be sure that you've gotten through all the competencies. Okay, so if you scroll back down on the left side over here, you can of course look at your assignments, you can look at your grades. One of the most important tabs over here is going to be the people tab. This is where your groups will live. Like I said, you'll have 2 places to go, the main classroom, Canvas classroom, and then the people tab where it's called mentor groups and your specific group, and you visit the page. It's going to look different for you because you don't have access to all of these groups, but you're going to visit your group home page, and that's where all the information is going to live to work with your mentor. Your mentor will support you through completing all of these assignments, okay? That will be included, and what I should say as well is let's take a look at the mentor log, which is actually your log, but the mentor is responsible for the log. So if I visit the page for ELA, for example, if I go to pages, here is the methods log. Everyone has their own, every content area has their own. Okay, so I believe it's going to download, yes. Open it. Here it is. These are the hours required for the course, and these are the hours you're working with your mentor or independently on your assignments that you must complete. So you've got discussions, you've got an assignment or two each week, and competencies you need to complete, activities you need to complete to show that you are competent in that area. So you're going to keep track of all this information as you go. At the end, your mentor's going to sign that you have completed the 15 hours of independent work and the 15 hours of work with your mentor. Here are your competencies listed. Here are the deadlines and the due dates of each week's assignments. Okay, and 12/14 is when the final work is done and due with your work with your mentor for your competencies and for everything. But each week you have each of these assignments due for that particular week. Okay, so scrolling down, this is your log. You need to keep track of this, of everything you do with your mentor and the work on competencies as planned, okay, with your mentor. So you're keeping track of all of your hours that you work with face-to-face with your mentor, or you work towards your competencies and completing those. This is due week 8 by December 14th, okay? And all of this is what you're going to use. You can keep it in a Word doc if you want. You can share it as a Google Doc so that you can look at it live. However you and your mentor decide, but this is critical to be turned in at the end. This records that you did complete the time together, the 30 hours of time together. All right, so let's just take a quick look at the syllabus, and then I think we're going to be done for the day. And let's go back. So I'm going to click on syllabus here. Let's look at the health competency syllabus. We'll say we're looking at the health syllabi. So I'm going to open that again. So you've got your, this is where you will specify what number you are. So if you're teaching health, you are 6029 health. There's several different content areas for the same number, 6029, just to make it a bit more confusing. But the course description is here for health, what they're asking you that you need to know for your practice as a health educator. These are all the same basic course expectations. And then catalog and course policies. Where am I going to point you to here? Academic accommodations. Be sure that if you have accommodations that are needed, that you contacted the DRC. This number is here, and email, so that your faculty member and your mentor knows that you have special accommodations that will help you learn. We want to be sure that we take care of those for you. So be sure you've alerted the DRC, who then in turn has alerted your mentor and your faculty member, myself or Kim Athens. When I scroll down here, these are the CLOs that you'll see that's during each week in the overview. And then this is the basic layout of what is expected in the course. Okay, so here are the assignments. You've got each module of learning. Like I mentioned, it's focus on IEP, focus on Common Core State Standards, focus on technology, whatever the focus is for that week. There are 5 in general. The other 6, the other 3, 6 is completing those, 7 is reflection, and 8 is turning them in. Okay, so each of those are 20 points each week. That totals 100 points, which is 29% of your grade. The discussions, there are 7 discussions at 10 points each, which is 20% of your grade. And those competencies that I mentioned, the work with your mentor to complete those competencies in your content area, are 140 points, or 20 points each week. So 7 times 2 is 140, 46% of your grade. That 8th week is the fact that you're just turning it in, okay? And 7, you're completing it. And then 5% of your grade, or 17.5 points, is joining a professional organization. Obviously a great resource that will follow you. I still am part of organizations I joined from long ago. So they're great connections with other educators in your field. Here you'll see the course calendar each week, what is covered and what is due. Okay, Sundays are our due dates, with a post due on Thursday and response due on Sunday. Okay, so it follows the same format every single week, and following through all the dates of the sessions and the weeks. Okay, and then of course the dispositions, and here we have the table laying out courses and when you take them and so on. Okay, so that's an overview of the syllabus for you. Well, I have given you a lot of information right now, and hopefully that has helped give you an overview of what it means to be a part of the Methods course for single subject teaching. And if you have any questions, once again, my name is Lori Kall, Kall. I am the instructor of record in Bakersfield. Kimberly Athens, Athens, is the instructor of record in Mission Valley. And then your mentors, who you work with day in and day out, we are kind of the coordinators of the course, the full-time faculty member that keeps all of it moving. So please let us know if you have questions, and we'd be happy to help you. Good luck, and have an exciting journey as you become an expert in your area.